All right, it's gonna cut me off. So flippity floppity flu.
Ooh.
And all right, it's time for us to call it in the ring like the vets. So Adam, explain our call it in the ring this week.
Okay, so I originally had an idea uh, that was far meaner than this, and that's why I decided to scrap it because I didn't want that to be what our podcast was about. But I decided to take some inspiration from my dad. Is a big comic book collector. He has collected comic books his entire life. I grew up on the comics, not even of the comics of my era, the ones that were current when I was growing up. I grew up on my dad's comic collection from mostly the 70s and 80s. And that's how I learned to draw a little bit. That's how I know a little bit about comics. You know, my expertise, if you want to call it that, that'd be a very liberal use of the word, but my expertise in comics comes mostly from that and from the fact that my dad had a subscription. Well, I don't think he actually, I think he just bought them off the rack, but he every month he would get Wizard magazine. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Wizard magazine, but
Mhm.
for the majority of the 90s into the early 2000s, Wizard was the preeminent magazine for comic book related news. For there was a price guide in the back to see how the prices of individual issues of individual volumes went up or down. There were tons of different stuff. That's how I learned about independent comics lines like Dark Horse and Image and
Mhm.
and Vertigo and stuff like that. I mean, that's an imprint, but point being that my knowledge of comics was informed by these old comics and Wizard magazine. I didn't read the comics that were current in my childhood. I read Wizard to keep up. And Wizard, for the longest time, had a recurring article where they would take a comic book property and then, and this was before Blade and this was before X-Men. So before like the big comics book movie boom, right? And it would take these comic book properties and it would cast them. This character would be played by this actor from that you would know from this thing, and it would go down the list and the whole thing. My dad was selling comics at a convention a few weeks ago, and he was talking about that. And I would see him get prepping comics and stuff for sale, and I was like, man, I was thinking back to those times. I was like, man, reading those Wizard magazines was super cool, and that was my favorite thing. So what I did, I'm taking some inspiration from that. We know that there's going to be a rebooted X-Men movie within the MCU. And I thought, why don't we take that concept using the wizard format of casting it, but put a wrestling spin on it and cast only wrestlers and wrestling personalities?
Okay.
So, what we decided on before this, we're going to do this. We haven't prepped anything. We're just going to do this in the moment. Uh,
Yep.
I have a list of the team roster over the years. We are going to limit it to a team of seven because that is much more reasonable, and we'll keep this segment a little bit on the shorter side.
Hmm.
We're deciding to take the X-Men 97 route and have it be an X-Men team post the death of Professor X, mostly because Professor X is somebody who doesn't really, it's not like he's inactive on the team, but
Hmm.
like, I mean, he's not the guy you go to see. And
Yeah.
most of the bald people in wrestling don't exactly have that air of sophistication or intelligence that
Right.
the role would require.
Hmm.
We are dealing with wrestlers who, by and large, are not good stage actors. So we're already stretching the limits. We don't need to try and put somebody in Professor X's wheelchair here. And then we're going to do a couple of baddies. So probably about 10 altogether, 10 casts altogether. And
Okay.
Aaron and I, we are going to discuss them as we go along. So what I think we should cast the team first. Do you want to determine the team first, or do you want to go like person by person? Oh, this person needs to be on the team,
Well,
and
let's
then
just
we cast it.
Yeah, I think we go person by person because
Okay.
yeah, and we're doing an X-Men reboot.
Right.
I mean, obviously, and I know everybody's thinking it already, so let's just get it out of the way. We have to have a Wolverine.
Oh yeah.
We have to have a Wolverine.
Oh, absolutely. And I know exactly who it can be. It can't be anybody else but Brian.
I kind of have. God dang, are we on the same wavelength or what? Because I was like, I want my Wolverine comic book accurate. So Brian Cage.
Brian Cage. He's already Swolverine. He has
Yeah.
it written on his trunks every now and then.
True.
He has multiple sets of gear dedicated to the character. He's very into it. He's not like a tall guy, but he's super duper shredded. He's one of those guys, like most of this team, because it's an MCU thing, and because you would want these characters to be investments, essentially. I think most of them are going to be on the younger side. One of the guys that you can make an exception for is Wolverine, because he was born in the 1840s or whatever. So, Brian Cage isn't like that much younger or older than he's about our age. He's in his late 30s, maybe early 40s. But he already looks kind of grizzled. And that works for him. I mean, I don't, and he would obviously want to be Wolverine more than literally anybody else in wrestling that you could cast. So just give it to him.
Yeah.
To me, that's the easiest one to cast.
Yeah. Low hanging fruit right there. Right
absolutely.
Out of the way.
Wolverine is absolutely the machine, Brian Cage. Congratulations. You're cast. You're the first one. Go. You are our only choice.
Right.
So, I feel like probably the other two people you need on the team, or three people that you need on the team, are Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Storm.
Okay.
Those are probably the other three people you need on the team. And the other three can be variable. And in fact, I'd like, if we could, to cast characters that maybe not haven't been there, but weren't featured in the other movies. Give some more opportunities to people for different kinds of stuff.
Okay.
But let's get the core out of the way first.
All right.
Who do you think should be Cyclops? Because I have somebody in mind.
I do too. I actually have a pair.
I want to hear your take.
I actually have a Jean Grey and Cyclops pair in mind.
Ooh. Okay.
And it's Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae.
Pardon me. I like where your head's at. It would obviously have real life chemistry together. And this is going to be petty, and I'm sorry, but one of my major concerns there is that Johnny Gargano is not tall. He needs to be at least taller than Wolverine.
Okay, fair.
That's
fair.
I mean, I love Johnny Gargano. Don't get me wrong. Honestly, I feel like people leave him out of the best pound for pound wrestler conversation when he really should be in there.
Yeah.
Like he may not be at the top of that top 10 list or whatever, but he should be in the conversation. Love Johnny Gargano. I would see him in other roles. I wouldn't see him as Cyclops.
Okay.
Jean. Let's get back to Jean. I need to think about Jean. But my pick for Cyclops would be Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
He's got that height, he's got that stature, he's got that
Hmm.
air of leadership to him. He can be
Okay.
kind of a jerk. Cyclops kind of needs to be a jerk, especially in modern comics. He's a real big jerk.
Yeah.
But I that would be I think that's my pick for uh for Cyclops. I think Cody Rhodes would nail it.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As
I like
far
that.
as Jean goes, considering who I want to be associated on the bad guy side of this movie, you want somebody with range. Because one of the bad guys that I want in this movie is the Goblin Queen.
Okay.
So you would need to have somebody who can be both Jean Grey and her clone Madeline Pryor.
Okay.
So when I think of range, honestly, I think of, and you're probably gonna turn up a people's eyebrow for this, but honestly, I think Becky Lynch. She can
Okay.
do an American accent. She's done it in movies before.
Hmm.
And if you we're reading, I haven't finished it, but I'm listening to the audio version of her biography, and
Hmm.
whenever she imitates like Seth Rollins' American accent or whatever, it's believable. And hell, she could even adopt the Scottish the Irish accent rather, as Madeline Pryor. Just to
Yeah.
differentiate them. And she's redhead already. Like that already works. We already
That
know she
helps.
looks good with red hair.
Yeah.
I would like to see Becky Lynch in that personally,
Okay.
but I don't want to dominate this.
No,
If
no,
you're going
no.
to do
I like
somebody
those
else too,
choices. I like
if
those
you want,
choices. And it's
all
mostly
right,
because, and I'm not going to fight them too much because it's mostly because I have somebody in mind for Storm that I will fight. I will fight about if if it comes to it.
bet I know
So
who it is.
I bet you do. I
I
bet
bet
you
I know who it
do
is.
because I bet you have
I
the same answer.
I don't, but my reasoning for it is petty.
Hmm.
My reasoning for it is petty. You go first and confirm that I know who you're talking about.
I mean, it can't be anybody else but Jade Cargill.
See,
It
and
has to be Jade Cargill.
I want to be clear here. She is a fantastic choice. She is an absolutely fantastic choice. Um, I mean, she's done several Storm cosplays in wrestling already. She
Hmm.
already wears her hair white.
Yep.
Like, I totally get it. The only, I'm not gonna, obviously, there's no overriding here. What I would like to put out, though, for consideration, Queen Aminata.
Okay.
Simply because, and like I said, this is going to be super petty, but she already has an accent.
Mm.
She's from Guinea. She's not from Kenya, but I think the average American, myself included, is ignorant to what the differences in African countries' accents are. And if
Hmm.
anything sounds vaguely African, it's going to be like, oh, I buy that.
Yeah.
And you won't have to make Jade Cargill put on an accent for that. Then again, Halle Berry dropped the accent by the beginning of the second movie. So like, and nobody like said anything. Nobody
No.
had that Kofi Kingston moment. Like, did you have an accent 2 years
Yeah.
ago? I mean,
Exactly.
I would put forth for consideration Queen Aminata, who is also a statuesque woman. You
Hmm.
know, uh, but yeah, I mean, ultimately, it kind of has to be Jade, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
kind
I
of has
mean,
to be
it kind of
Jade,
has
right?
to be Jade. I mean, she's already there. She
She's
portrays the
already there.
character.
She wants it. She wants to be Storm like Brian Cage wants to be Wolverine.
Yeah.
How are you going to deny her that?
Hmm.
You know, and just get her a dialects coach. That's all.
Yeah, that'll work.
They're a dime a dozen in Hollywood anyway.
Yeah, they are everywhere.
Okay,
Oh,
so we've got
so
our core.
yeah.
So I'm going to for the last three members of the team. I want you to put forth a character first. I want you
Mm,
to suggest a character, and then we can do that. And then I'll do one, and then we'll both kind of consensus on this up.
okay. Um.
All I'll ask is that it's not Magneto.
Oh yeah, no
I've had
Magneto.
I've had
No.
enough. Sorry guys, I know Magneto's got a big fans. Magneto was right and all that stuff. Blah 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 blah. I've had enough of Magneto. He's in every single movie. Can we just give it a rest for one X-Men film? Like,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic character. He's one of the best comic book characters of all time. He does not need to be in this. Give some other characters a chance, okay?
Hmm. Um. Let's see here. You know, trying to think about somebody who hasn't had a lot of screen time, but is a X-Men character that I like. Mm,
You know what you should do? You should do what I've done and bring up the Wikipedia page for X-Men and look at the team roster, and they have a bunch of names there.
oh yeah, they do, don't they?
They absolutely do. That'll be immensely helpful.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. I'm gonna look
And
it
if
up
you want to
right
edit
now.
that out in post, you can. I don't care.
I might not.
It'll make us both look smarter.
So, a lot of names here. Wow, there's a lot of X-Men.
Yeah.
Um,
There are absolutely a ton of X-Men. And some of them are great and some of them are not.
yeah, some of them are not.
Yeah,
Um,
like
let's go with, you know what? Let's go with somebody who's not had a fair turn on screen. How about Cable?
okay. Well, I thought that he got a pretty fair shake in Deadpool too.
I mean, the right person played him for sure. I don't know. I like the cartoon version of him a lot better than the screen version.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I'd go with Cable because it's either Cable or Jubilee, and I think Cable in this case.
I think that that's a good choice though, because of who I have in mind for the baddie, the big baddie. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that
Yeah.
that's Cable's a great choice. Um, we might even think of making him. The good thing about that character is that you can have him be old grizzled Cable,
Mm-hmm.
or you could have him be young Nate Gray,
Yeah.
because it kind of works either way. Time
Mm-hmm.
traveler, you know, it doesn't really matter where you get him from in the timeline. It can work either
Yeah.
way.
Right. Right. He can be pretty much anybody.
So let's see if we're going kind of old grizzled Cable. Man, ooh, that's tough. I like the challenge though. You, you you're gonna hate me for this suggestion,
Okay.
but you know who might actually be pretty decent in the role is John Cena.
I mean, I actually don't hate that, and the reason I don't hate that is because he is good on screen.
Or you know
Um,
what? No. I don't want to say John Cena because he's mostly out of wrestling now. I want somebody who's still in wrestling. So I'm
okay.
gonna take that back. I'm gonna take that back
Okay.
because that made me think, oh, you know who else? Who it made me think, oh, you know who else would be even better is Batista. And then I'm like, wait, no, he's retired. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's already in the MCU anyway. So I'm like,
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
it made me think back to John Cena's like, oh, he's not really. He's in wrestling, but he's not really in wrestling anymore. Like,
Hmm.
maybe not. Okay, well, old grizzled cable. Well, who's one of those guys who's kind of old and hanging around, but still
Hmm.
like, in oh, if he could, if he could be serious, not for a minute. I'm not talking Lance Storm. Um, if he could be, if he could be legitimately dramatic, the look anyway. Billy Gunn has that look that you're going for
Yeah, he does.
because he's 60, but he's enormous.
Yeah.
He's jacked to the gills. Like he's got that cable kind of look. I don't know
Mhm.
if his acting would hold up, but like uh, I mean, I don't think you're gonna get a better, more accurate looking cable than Billy Gunn at this stage in his life and career.
I mean, as long as he's been doing the wrestling thing, I think he could probably hold up with the acting. I mean, I just don't think it's ever been called on him to be a dramatic character of any kind. But I think as long as he's adapted to, I mean, he hasn't really adapted. He's been the same character for like 20 years. But as far
Yeah,
as playing it, he's not like, hurting to play this. I mean, even at 60, we're like, oh, this guy's still kind of this young jackass. Um,
yeah,
but
kind of.
that's been kind of his character the whole time, but he's playing it at 60. So I mean, I don't think it's a stretch to be like he could probably turn around, act a little bit more angry, and pull off a grizzled old Cable. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd go with Billy Gunn. I can't think of anybody who has the body type at that age either. And you're gonna, I don't really want to age him, whoever it is. I just want him to be able to
Yeah.
be, and he's already there. He's got the look and everything. He just needs a good scar, and
So,
you know,
okay, we're counting this as one character because it's the same character. What if we decided to go with the younger version of Nate Gray?
mm,
A little bit more inexperienced, doesn't have the technovirus yet. Um, you know, usually he's depicted as in his like mid-20s, right?
mm-hmm.
Oh,
Some
maybe Colton.
maybe Colton would
Because
work,
that way, if you wanted to do like a time skip or something like that, you've got Colton Gunn aging into his father.
which wouldn't be too much of a stretch.
No, like it's completely believable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, I think he's Colton's got that height too. He's like 6'4". I think his dad is a
Mm-hmm.
little bit taller, but like he's got that same general height. He's slimmer though, and he's obviously much younger. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think that could work.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so it's my turn,
Mm-hmm.
and given that the X-Men franchise has become kind of people kind of project their own struggles or take the struggles of the X-Men for tolerance and equality and representation and stuff like that, and project their own troubles in society on them. They've been originally they were supposed to be analogous to the fight for civil rights for Black
Mm-hmm.
people. With Magneto being Malcolm X and Professor Xavier being MLK. Since then, pretty much any marginalized group that you can think of has seen themselves and their struggles in those of the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And so the X-Men is kind of this thing on its own that represents underrepresented and disadvantaged and a lot of times oppressed communities. So, with that in mind, I want to put forth Thunderbird.
Okay.
And my idea is to have Nyla Rose play Thunderbird.
Okay.
Thunderbird in the comics is male, but guess what? We're doing whatever the hell we want.
Fair.
People do gender swapping all the time. Nyla Rose is Native American. She's a native beast. She looks legitimately tough. She looks like
Hmm.
she would have like the powers of a Thunderbird. I
Yeah.
think I think that in as far as as far as representation, if you want to make that statement with the X Men that people are already going to make, so why not lean into it?
Hmm.
I think Native Americans and trans people, for that matter, are among the least represented people in film.
Yeah.
I think here's an opportunity to represent both of those demographics.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, mostly because other than that, I mean, I can't really think of a whole lot of native wrestlers who are native and could fill that representation role. I mean, I know
Yeah,
there's a few, but I mean, mostly indie people come to mind who haven't been on TV yet. But yeah, if we're
yeah,
talking mainstream wrestling, yeah, Nyla would be the perfect choice for that. Because yeah, we could totally gender swap it. We do it all the time. We've done it with Thor already.
yeah,
It's coming for Captain America eventually. So
yeah,
um, yeah, we can start that off as a gender swap, so we don't have to change it later.
yeah. I mean, I thought that would be, you know, thematic and appropriate, and I think that honestly, I think Nyla would eat it up too. I
Yeah,
mean, Thunderbird, that character isn't necessarily known for being the comic relief of the group, but can you seriously not see Nyla as eating up all the scenery? Like,
yeah.
she would absolutely destroy. It would be great.
Oh yeah, she's funny. She's naturally funny, so I think it would
She's a
work really well.
fantastic Twitter follow.
Oh yeah, she makes
All
me
right,
laugh every
so
day.
we've got one more spot on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be a woman.
Okay.
What do you think? Who do you
Hmm.
think?
Let's see here. What do we got?
We've got. I mean, I would still say Kitty Pride would be worth it because really, she was only really um, essential to the plot in one film.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mystique's had her shot. Um, Jubilee, Dazzler. Uh, I'd rather not do Polaris because
No.
that's just a sneaky way of getting Magneto back on the team.
Right.
You could do
Uh,
Marrow.
yeah.
Marrow would be interesting. You could do you could do Psylocke. She was in Apocalypse, but she didn't show up in the later movie. I don't think she showed up in Dark Phoenix. So
Yeah.
you could do that if you wanted to.
Yeah. Let's go with Psylocke.
You could even you could even do a tie-in. Pardon me. You could even do a tie. Well, no, you couldn't do that because she's not a wrestler. I was going to say you could even do a tie-in with Ms. Marvel because it was confirmed that she was essentially the MCU's first confirmed mutant, but
Mm,
she ain't a wrestler, so we can't cast her when she's already cast.
right. So yeah, I think Psylocke's good. I mean, she had a good
Okay.
run with Olivia Munn, but if we're gonna
Yeah,
recast,
she ain't no wrestler, and this is a
no.
new continuity.
Yep. So who could be Psylocke?
So who could be
Um,
Psylocke? Um,
hmm.
I'm thinking. I mean, I love Asuka. I love me some Asuka. But you know what? I think Io Sky has a better look for her with that long hair she's got.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always put a wig on Asuka to get that length that you're looking for, but I think I think Io would be kind of perfect for it. She also looks taller than she is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's got that kind of build that you want on Psylocke because she used to be or well, Quanon anyway, used to be an assassin for the hands. So she used to be a
Yeah.
ninja, and she's got kind of that ninja build to her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like Io Sky in that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any
I
other
don't really have a
thoughts.
better one than that. I think Io Sky is a pretty good choice for that one. Because yeah, I mean, she's got the right look for it, really, and I mean, can speak English well enough to cover the role. So yeah, I
All
would
right,
go.
there's our team then, I guess.
Yep.
Now, like I said, one of one of the, the baddies would be the Goblin Queen in my scenario. In my scenario, it would be the main baddie would be though Mr. Sinister
Okay.
pulling all the strings that he pulls because he's been teased in X-Men projects for literally years and he's never been shown. He's one of my favorites, and I think that between the connection with the Gray Summers line and his mutation stuff, you can tie it back to being a protege of the High Evolutionary if you want. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to do another tie-in, you can have one of his assistants be Miles Warren, who could show up in the next Spider-Man movie as the Jackal.
Mm.
Do some clone stuff there if you wanted to. MCU's all about laying the Easter eggs, right? So put them
Right.
there. For my money, Mr. Sinister, Christian Cage.
Hmm.
Christian Cage.
I can only proffer one person, and it's all based on his look.
Give it to me.
It's Vince McMahon.
No, 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 no.
He looks just like Mr.
We're
Sinister
not
with the
doing that.
mustache. I mean,
We're
come
not
on.
doing this.
Okay,
Not
we
we're
won't.
not going to
We won't do it
we're
then.
not going to give him any more money.
But yeah, Christian Cage would be great because he's definitely conniving. He would just need to. I mean, he's gonna have a heavy makeup anyway, but yeah,
Yeah.
black hair. Well, yeah, he could definitely do it.
He's got that menacing presence, especially now where he's hitting like he's in the prime of his character at age
Mm-hmm.
50. Like, it's insane. He is such a great, dastardly, evil heel character already. I don't think anybody in wrestling to me says, yeah, play me for a guy where Sinister is literally in my name as much as Christian Gage.
Yeah, I think he works pretty good.
So in my idea, it would be Mr. Sinister doing some clone stuff and some mutate stuff. So the clone would be Goblin Queen, Madeline Pryor, who we've already
Mm-hmm.
established is whoever's playing Jean Grey.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, the last role that we'll be filling, would be his mutate representation. Sauron.
Oh,
Who do you
man.
play? Who do you cast as this giant pteranodon man?
Oh, man. I mean, heavy makeup, so this could be almost anybody. A lot of CG on
It'd
this
be
one.
about the voice at that point,
Oh,
probably.
man.
And probably the physicality too, because he'd probably be motion capture.
Yeah. Um, hmm. Man, I don't know on this one. Because I don't know what his voice would sound like. So,
In the cartoon, it sounded really like hissy and reptilian. We don't have to go
mm,
that way though. It all depends on what you want to do. Like I have an idea,
mm.
but I feel like I'm dominating the conversation, and I want you to
I
pick.
mean, we have to. It has to be somebody with physicality and a little size. He's got to be able to mocap or carry that kind of
Yeah, he
weight.
doesn't need to be a big guy if you're mocapping and CGIing over him.
Yeah,
So
I
as long as
mean,
they've got the physicality and the voice.
physicality and I mean, somebody who talks like a snake and is very physical. Let's go with John Moxley.
Moxley would be a good choice.
Yeah, because I mean, he could.
He would
I'm
have to
sure he can talk
slow.
less slither.
He would have to slow down, but he does. Yeah, he does have a certain snake-like quality to him.
Mm-hmm.
My idea, even though he'd be such a pain to work with, low key,
Ah, okay.
because he already kind of hunches over and does the thing where he's like an animal anyway, and he's got that big booming deep voice for somebody who's like 5'7". Like
Yeah.
you don't expect that voice to come out of that bot.
No.
But
No.
I mean, I've never seen anybody move the way low key moves as if he's like a Great Muda 2.0. And I feel like that would really benefit a character who's a giant hypnotic pteranodon.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I see it. I definitely see it.
I do like Moxley though. I like Moxley in the role.
Yeah.
He's far more intelligent than people give him credit for. So if you
Yeah.
wanted to go like that cerebral route, that's so the point of Sauron is that yeah, he's a mutate, but like he's far more intelligent than just the bestial image that he puts on.
Mm-hmm. That kind of equates with Moxley being more intelligent than the brute that we see on television.
Yeah, but he's certainly willing to go there if he needs
Yeah.
to, more
Exactly.
than.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we drafted a good team, a
I
good
think so.
cast here.
Yeah, that would be an interesting X-Men movie. I'd be down to watch it.
Yeah. Hey, listeners, let us know what you think. If you had any other suggestions or criticisms, or I can't believe you didn't think of this person. Why didn't you know? Let us know. Let us know. Find us on Twitter. We would love to hear your feedback.
Absolutely. We definitely would. Well, that is our time for the week. And this has been a little bit truncated version of the Smark Foundation podcast. But we will be back next week, right before Raw. As always, I'm Aaron,
And I'm Adam.
and you guys have a wonderful week. Goofy Wrestling
Absolutely.
for life.
Goofy Wrestling for life. Shout out to Simon Miller, as usual.
Shout out.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.